Hello my friends and welcome. Let's go for the latest update from Ukraine. First of all, we're gonna review the situation on the front lines, even though we don't have the latest update from the military map, but I got the information about what is happening near to Robotyne based on some of the resources coming from the Ukrainian and the Russian sides. Just right now, Ukraine tries to put out the Russian forces near to Robotyne on the west side from this village. The battle is ongoing just right now by the time I'm filming this video. Yes, night time. Hopefully this offensive operation from Ukrainian side will be successful. We're gonna see the news about it tomorrow. The Ukrainian army usually uses the small groups like 3 of the army vehicles and then infantry groups to attack the Russian positions. Usually it is happening during the night time because we have the good thermal cameras plus the night vision, the special equipment from our allies, and Russia is in lack of those tools. Plus obviously our volunteers help Ukraine a lot with night vision, thermal cameras, drones, whatever. So we have the confirmation about this attack attempt from the Ukrainian army from both of the sides, from the Russian and Ukrainian military bloggers who are aware about the actual situation on the front lines well before the mainstream media. This information, however, still might not be correct because there is the informational war between two of the sides, so it's hard to get the truthful information, but from what I understood, definitely Ukraine went on attack over here, west from Novoprokopivka. Just yesterday, Ukraine had the other vector, also west from Novoprokopivka, but into the village position. Later on, I'll show you the video confirmation. We're gonna try to find out whether Ukrainian army is in Novoprokopivka or not already. As for the Russian army, they are now in defense, defending Novoprokopivka village. They have lots of the forces deployed in the region. Around 2 weeks ago, they tried to return Robotyne village back, but unsuccessfully. They lost many of the infantry vehicles, tanks, and infantry itself. That is why they refused to go on a counteroffensive operations, and the Ukrainian army continued to push Russians out from this place. Just recently I spoke with my mate not far away from Robotyne, and he says that Ukrainian army is in lack of the simple tools, for example mortars, 120mm mines that could be used to target the Russian positions in the forest lines or in the trenches. Also, as usual, artillery shells. The situation now is way better compared to the last year, but still Ukraine is in lack of the simple artillery shells. I mean, our guys may use artillery systems, but for the attack missions it's better to have more artillery shells. My mate said that we don't need a really sophisticated equipment right now, but lots of the simple, reliable tools to reach the goal step by step. But after all, he's quite positive about the things on the front lines, even though Russia started to use lots of the FPV drones to target the Ukrainian infantry and infantry vehicles. He said about it as well. Let's go now to Verboa. There was the battle somewhere over here recently, but without the huge success of Ukrainian army. Still Russia is able to use those 3 lines as their trenches, as their defense. It's very hard to move this time towards Verboa. Yet from what I see, the main attack vector from Ukrainian army shouldn't be towards Verboa. It should be towards Tokmak over here, across Novoprokopivka and many other smaller villages. But it may not be like that, because Russia will cut us from both of the sides. They will send reinforcements. Yes, we're gonna cut through the Russian defense, and then we should attack from this place and to this place to extend this bridgehead. After all, performing the counteroffensive in this small corridor is very risky. Well, again, you'll laugh about my drawing. Oh my god. So we have those drone images from Novoprokopivka as it was commented under this video. The full version I will post on my Telegram channel. By the way, my friends, you may support me with your subscription on my Telegram. because I use it as my alternate resource where I always update you with the recent news and events. It's very useful for me because everything is located just in my phone. Then I see some news, I share it on my Telegram channel at first, so you already may know some of the stories even before I publish the YouTube video. Plus there are no any advertisements, so please join, it's for free. See you in Telegram. Let's go back to this video. Based on the images, we may see some of the Western-made vehicles in this village. As it was said, Nova Prokopivka, it means that there is the advancement of Ukrainian army, which is even further, that is shown on the deep state military map resources. But let's cross-check everything on the Google Maps. So this is Robotyne and this is Nova Prokopivka village. As you may see, there is just a single river in this village. Let's go to the satellite image over here, and here is the river and this is the village itself. Let's go back to our video because I'm looking for this kind of river and I don't see that this image really fits what I saw on the satellite image of the Google Maps. So probably this is not the Nova Prokopivka, but I could be wrong. I always want to cross-check the information even though it is coming from the Ukrainian resources. We need to have the confirmation. Now I don't see the confirmation about our guys being in Nova Prokopivka village that deep. The only thing that it could be the old image from Nova Prokopivka. Maybe there are now more buildings than it was a long time ago. And this is the Kupiansk direction. Russia again tried to assault using their modern tanks T-90 Proryev. One of the Russian tanks and armored vehicle were stopped by the mines. Just recently, Russia started to target the Ukrainian supply lines in Kupiansk by cutting the bridges across the Oskil River using the aviation gliding bombs. Yes, it brings some profit for the Russian army. They may assault more effectively, but in the end they will not have the further room for advancement without the bridges. That is what Ukrainian army faces nowadays in Kherson region. Without the bridges we are unable to cross the big river. But after Russia blown up the Kakhovka Dam, the Dnieper River is also quite narrow near to Kherson. So as you may see, Russia continued to lose their vehicles, but now they also changed their tactics. Before they assaulted with bigger groups, and now they use couple of the tanks and couple of the armored vehicles as Ukraine. According to the Russian resources, Russia started a counterattack near to Pryutne. They say that Russian army takes the ground, but we have no confirmation from independent or Ukrainian resources about it, no video evidence, no drone images, so they're just saying as usual that they're gaining the ground. I know that they deployed lots of the forces in this region. Previously, Ukraine was able to take lots of the villages in this area under control. They want to regain the ground, but now unsuccessfully. I don't see the potential for the Russian army in gaining the ground in this area. Near Kupiansk, I would agree, they have the potential over there, but here in the south, not for now. Everything will depend on the winter campaign, where there will be less fights, but Ukraine and Russia will concentrate on getting more resources to their armies. Russia is now speaking with North Korea and Iran. I think they already signed a deal where Russia gets new ammunition, new rockets, new artillery shells, and Ukraine needs that stuff as well. I expect the constant support from our allies, including the United States of America. About Robotyne, Verbova and Nova Prokopivka, Russian channels admitted that Ukraine started the counteroffensive operation over there and now it goes quite successful. They say that the enemy was able to get to the trenches where the battle started, infantry against infantry. So we expect to receive more good news tomorrow about this direction. About the weaponry, we have just received the confirmation that Russia uses the Iranian missiles for their Grad system. So Iran is already supplying the ammunition for the Russian army. As it was reported before by the United States intelligence, North Korea also started their supplies to the Russian army. For now, not massively, but in the future they will send many more artillery shells and other stuff unfortunately. About our favorite kabooms, some of them were reported today in Sevastopol city. Russia says, as usual, the air defense system is in operation. All of the drones were successfully shot down. No any videos or photos were published, so it's hard to say what particularly was targeted or the Russian defense really targeted the drones. Great news, officially 3 of the main ports in Odessa are now open for the commercial ships to supply the grain to the third countries. It was possible because Ukrainian army provided the security for commercial ships in the part of the Black Sea. So Russia is out of the grain deal, but the grain will go to Ukrainian customers. Many of the commercial companies are now willing to participate in the grain delivery because insurance companies agreed to provide insurance for the vessels. The strategy for Russia was to cut the grain supplies for Ukraine, but after all, they were forced to move most of their ships from the Sevastopol Bay, and they cannot operate as they used to because basically they are now suffering under the drone and rocket Ukrainian attacks. The interesting thing that before the Russian inspectors inspected the commercial ships which went to Ukrainian ports, and now they're unable to inspect those ships, so Ukraine may actually receive some of the weaponry by the Black Sea. I'm not saying that it will be like that, but it is the possible scenario, and Kremlin is unable to control it. Good job, Putin, quitting this deal. Lithuania will also help Ukraine to deliver its grains by opening the transition corridors across the country. The grain will go to the Baltic ports and then to Africa and beyond. I saw and read many of the experts saying that there will be no any help for Ukraine for the next 47 or 45 days, but it's not like that. As I said to you before, there are still some funds reserved in American budget for Ukrainian military aid. It is approximately $7 billion, which is enough for Ukraine for the next 2 months. And today we have the confirmation from the Speaker of the White House that the new military help will be sent to Ukraine very soon. So America is going to use those funds for supplies, which is great because we need it. Germany also sends lots of the weaponry to Ukraine. For this year, it's almost 9 billion euro help for the Ukrainian military. However, we may see the general decreasement in supplies. Ukraine doesn't receive any more tanks from our allies. Yes, we are still waiting for Abrams tanks, but there will be no more Challenger 2 tanks because UK says that they are unable to supply more, and there will be no Leopard 2 tanks in the nearby future. Probably Leopard 1, which is not that effective compared to Leopard 2. Okay, there was the train crash in the self-proclaimed Donetsk Republic between the train and this air defense Strela 10 system. Russia lost this system plus 3 of the soldiers in it. The train also got dramatic damages. It went out from the rails and the railway is damaged also. We have this information directly from the self-proclaimed Republic and other sources. The Ukrainian aviation factory and design bureau Antonov will produce those French UAVs. That is attack UAV Arak, which is originally made by France, but they signed a contract with Antonov, so Antonov will produce the modified version of this very interesting tool. This thing is quite capable. For characteristics, it's very similar to the Reaper drone, but may fly faster and higher. The maiden flights for Antonov-made Arak UAVs are planned for the next year. My friends, yesterday we spoke about the corruption in Ukraine. Actually, I said what I wanted to say, so I'll try to avoid this topic in the future and will concentrate just on reviewing the front lines and the situation around Ukraine. But I still have something to say about the corruption, so now the national security officials of the United States confirmed that all of the military help, the units which were sent to Ukraine, are actively fighting on the front line, so they don't see the corruption, the big corruption schemes with the military tools that were sent to my country. That's awesome. So United States, please continue to support Ukraine. Then this temporary budget is over. There will be the talks about the Ukrainian EU membership in December. It's not the fast process. Some say that it might take 5 up to 10 years. Also, it is very dependent on political situation in the European member countries. Because I don't think that, for example, Hungary or Slovakia nowadays would agree with Ukrainian membership. Well, anyways, we'll see. But on my own opinion, NATO is much better alliance to join compared to EU. I know that those are very different. That is why NATO is better than economical alliance with EU. Well, anyways, what doesn't kill us make us stronger. So probably EU membership is the good choice for Ukraine. For the first time in American history, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Kevin McCarthy, was voted to leave his position. The initiative for voting came from the Republican Party, from some of the members of Republican Party. They said that McCarthy got some sort of the confidential deal with President Biden to renew the military help for Ukraine after this temporary budget expires. Well, I'm still sure that Ukraine will get the military help anyways. My fellow Americans, it's quite hot in the United States politics nowadays. Unfortunately, it touches my country also. Today, Armenia introduced the Rome Statute in their law system. It means that if Putin goes to Armenia, he should be arrested. The Kremlin speaker Peskov already said that it is the unfriendly move by Armenia, which deteriorates the relationship between two of the countries. He said that they will negotiate if Putin needs to visit Armenia. So please, Putin, visit Armenia. You'll be arrested. Ahead of the European Council, Charles Michel said that Russia betrayed Armenia because they deployed the peacekeepers who were responsible for the peace between two of the sides, but didn't do anything against forces which assaulted towards the Karabakh territory. The peace deal was negotiated 2 years ago with Russia as the main mediator between Azerbaijan and Armenia. But we saw many of the videos how Azerbaijani forces just go to the Karabakh territory without any sort of the resistance from the Russian peacekeepers. So finally they took the land, establishing the Azerbaijani control. Legally, it is the Azerbaijani territory. According to the latest report from the United Nations, they went to Karabakh, so-called Karabakh, for the first time in 30 years. So they say that the vast majority of Armenians already left Nagorno-Karabakh and not more than 1,000 Armenians left there. It is unprecedented evacuation of civilians. Around 130,000 people left their homes. The United States Army officials again say that they are ready to deliver the ATACMS missiles with cluster warheads. They just need the permission from the President of the United States, Biden. Before, there already was the information that President Biden agreed to supply those missiles to Ukrainian army. Hopefully, we're gonna get those very soon. The ATACMS missiles might be used for the future Crimea landing operation, as I told you before in one of my videos. Just a couple of the ATACMS missiles with a cluster munition warhead should be enough to eliminate a single Russian military airfield in Crimea, because the cluster munition will cover the vast area of the airfield. And since Russia is storing their airplanes open air, all of them will be gone. My friends, now please press the like to this video, and also don't forget to check the links in the video description just below if you want to support my channel. Special thanks for my Patreon supporters and the sponsors of this channel. My friends, you are awesome. I wish you all a peaceful sky and have a great time.